Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be starting our very first lesson in our new unit called Immigration. And today's lesson is called E Pluribus Unum. Now, I know that sounds like a funny word because it's a word you've never probably heard before, but we're going to talk a little bit about what that word means before I begin the read aloud. E Pluribus Unum is a Latin word, and Latin words are usually no longer spoken in regular conversation today. E pluribus unum is actually our motto for the United States, and it means out of many, one. E pluribus unum, that word is found on the back of many of our United States coins. We have a penny, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, and a $50, which is worth 50 cents. And on the back, if you look really, really closely, you can see our United States motto, E pluribus unum, written on each coin. On our penny, it's right here. On our nickel, it is right here. On our dime, it is here. On our quarter, it is here. And on our 50-cent piece, it is here in the banner of the eagle. So again, I want you to keep in mind that motto. Again, it means out of many, one. And I want you guys to listen carefully about how that relates to immigration, how that relates to the reasons and the reasons that some people came to the United States and continue to still come. When I'm reading today, there are going to be 5 vocab words we're on the hunt for. The first one is ancestors. Ancestors are relatives who come before a person, their parents, or their grandparents. The second word is freedom. That means to be independent, to have your independence. It's the ability to choose how you want to live your life. The third word is immigrants. Immigrants are people who leave their home country to live in a new country. The fourth word is immigrate. That means to enter and make a home in a new country or region. So an immigrant is a person who leaves their country, and when they immigrate, that means they're coming to a brand new country to make a home. And the last word is push and pull factors. Those are the reasons that drive people away from something or draw them into a new place. So they're reasons people leave their home country, or either negatively that they were pushed out, or that they were attracted to or pulled into a new place, such as the United States. All right, here we go. Here's a question you have probably never asked yourself before. Why would someone leave the home that he or she knew, travel across the wide, rolling ocean, perhaps under uncomfortable or dangerous conditions, to move to a new country entirely? This is one question we have to think about if we're going to understand how the United States of America began and how it has become the country it is today, a nation made up of many different people from many different countries. The United States is sometimes called the country of immigrants. Immigrants are people who leave their home country to settle or live in a new country. You may have learned about some of the people who traveled from Europe to the New World. This was long before there was a country called the United States, but there were already people living in the North, South, and Central Americas and on some of the islands in the Caribbean Sea. We use the term Native American to refer to those, like the Winnipeg and the Locoso, who were already living in North America before the Europeans arrived. Maybe you remember the Mayan and the Aztec people who lived in Mexico, or the Incas whose empire spread across Peru, Chile, and other lands in South America. To these groups, the places where they lived were not new at all, because their ancestors, or people who came before them, lived there for centuries. Europeans traveled to the New World for many different reasons. For example, Christopher Columbus came looking for a shortcut from Europe to Asia. Spanish explorers such as Cortez came looking for wealth or money. Later, more people came from Europe that were not just explorers. Some wanted to bring their religion to the people already living there. Some were poor men and women who thought there was a chance to make money to take back to their homeland, where they hoped to lead easier, more comfortable lives with their newfound wealth. Others were adventurers attracted to the excitement of a new place. The greater the number of The greater number of these travelers to North and South America did not actually want to settle in America to make it their new home for good. Instead, they wanted to return to their own countries for gaining some wealth and making new discoveries. So, what I just discussed basically was that people coming to the New World, now we call basically the United States as we know it right now, we called it the New World a long, long time ago because it was a brand new place that people were just discovering. It was new. Today we call it the United States because it's been here for a really long time and founded, but back then I referred to it as the New World. So when people came here a long, 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 hundreds and hundreds of years ago, the reason they were coming here is not to make this their home. They wanted to come and visit. They heard that we had gold and a lot of money in this country. So they wanted to come to the New World to grab some of it and then bring it home to live a better life in the countries they were from. A lot of people also came here just to explore. They just wanted to look around and see what we had to offer. So those are some of the reasons people came in the very, very, very beginning to what was called the New World. Much later, a group of people we call pilgrims were looking for a place where they could follow their own religion without being told what to believe in the king by the King of England. Back in England, they were known as separatists, and they lived in fear of being arrested or thrown in jail for not having the same religious beliefs as their king. In order to meet together and practice their religion without fear, they decided to leave England behind. They hoped that there would be plenty of room in the New World in which to have freedom or the ability to choose how to live and practice their religion in their own way. The Pilgrims were not the first settlers in the New World, part of which we now call the United States. They were important, however, because they helped to set an example by doing something new and different. So, what is an immigrant? An immigrant is someone who comes from another country to settle in a new place. Do you remember that question I asked at the beginning of the lesson? Why might someone leave their home and come to an entirely new country? So we've talked about how exploring, realizing that there was wealth, money, gold, something that was going to make them rich in a new place. They came for that reason. And we also just learned in the last paragraph I read about how people were being pushed out of their country because they couldn't believe or practice the religion they wanted to believe in. The king told them, hey, you can only practice this religion. And if you choose not to listen to me, then I will put you in jail or I will hurt you. So basically, people who didn't want to do what the king said, they would practice their religion in fear. And eventually they decided that wasn't the way they wanted to live. So they left that country to go to the New World so they could live the way they wanted to live. This is a collage, meaning a bunch of pictures in one of different push factors. Remember, push factor is a reason someone is pushed or driven out of their home country. Reasons why immigrants leave their homes and come to a new place are push and pull factors. Push factors are problems that exist in someone's home country that would push you out of your country or make you leave. For many immigrants, money problems, trouble with their home government, and a lack of religious freedom have pushed people to immigrate or move to a brand new country. So in this picture, you can see a bunch of those reasons people leave. If there's a war going on in their country, if there's damaging weather, if the buildings are all torn and tumbling down and they want a better life, if there's a lack of food. Again, you can see all of those in that picture. Now, this is a collage or a bunch of pictures of pull factors, things about a country that draw people to it. On the other hand, having more freedom and more job opportunities than are available to them in their homelands have pulled or encouraged people to immigrate to the United States of America. There are many freedoms, such as the freedom of religion and the freedom of speech, that are protected by the American government. These freedoms and opportunities have attracted people to the United States. So again, the United States, we have a lot of freedoms that don't exist in other countries. We have the freedom to practice whatever religion we want to believe in. Other countries don't. You're told to practice something, and if you don't, you're put in jail or you're harmed. So this is this is one of the reasons a lot of people come to the United States to live, because they like the freedoms that we have. This is the back of a dollar bill, and it's featuring our United States motto, E Pluribus Unum. So again, it was on the coins we talked about at the very beginning, but it's also here on our American dollar, E Pluribus Unum. Although many immigrants come from different places and come for many different reasons, they all become part of the United States of America. Americans have come from many nations and have brought many ways of thinking in order to form one nation that allows and encourages different beliefs among people. E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, in Latin is a good motto for the United States. Remember those coins I showed you? If you look at the back of the US coins or the back of the US dollar, you can find our motto. Today, Americans are either immigrants themselves or come from a long line of immigrants before them. This means that most Americans' ancestors were immigrants. In these days, in the days ahead, you will hear fascinating stories about some of early immigrants. You will also learn more about the enormous risks that people took to immigrate to the United States. You will learn about hardships or difficulties immigrants faced when they first arrived in the new country. As you learn, it's a chance for As you will learn, it's a chance that new immigrants are still taking today.